not to be noticed. It doesn't work. The crunching hits my ears before I even know he's beside me. When I turn my head, Finnick Odair's famous sea green eyes are only inches from mine. He pops a sugar cube into his mouth and leans against my horse. "Hello, Katniss," he says, as if we've known each other for years, when in fact we've never met. "Hello, Finnick," I say, just as casually, although I'm feeling uncomfortable at his closeness, especially since he's got so much bare skin exposed. "Want a sugar cube?" he says, offering his hand, which is piled high. They're supposed to be for the horses, but who cares? They've got years to eat sugar, whereas you and I, well, if we see something sweet, we better grab it quick. Finnick Odair is something of a living legend in Panem. He won the 65th Hunger Games when he was only 14. He's still one of the youngest victors. Being from District 4, he was a career, so the odds were already in his favor. But no trainer could claim to have given him his extraordinary beauty. Tall, athletic, with golden skin, bronze-colored hair, and those incredible eyes. While the other tributes that year were hard-pressed to get a handful of grain or some matches, Finnick never wanted for anything. Not food or medicine or weapons. It took about a week for his competitors to realize he was the one to kill. But it was too late. He was already a good fighter with the spears and the knives he had found in the cornucopia. When he received a silver parachute with a trident, which may be the most expensive gift I've ever seen given in the arena, it was all over. District 4's industry is fishing. He'd been on the boat his whole life. The trident was a natural, deadly extension of his arm. He wore a net of some kind of vine he found, used to entangle his opponents so he could spear them with the trident. And within a matter of a few days, the crown was his. The citizens of the capital have been drooling over him ever since. Because of his youth, they couldn't really touch him for the first year or two. But ever since he turned 16, he spent his time at the games being dodged by those desperately in love with him. No one retains his favor for long. He can go through 4 or 5 in his annual visit. Old or young, lovely or plain, rich or very rich. He'll keep them company, take advantage of their extravagant gifts, but he never stays. And once he's gone, he never comes back. I can't argue with Finnick. I can't argue that Finnick isn't one of the most stunningly sensuous people on the planet. I can honestly say he's never been attractive to me. Maybe he's too pretty, or maybe he's too easy to get. Or maybe it's really that he's just too easy to lose. "No, thank you," I say. "I'd love to borrow I'd love to borrow your outfit sometime, though. He was draped in a golden net that was strategically knotted at his groin, so that he can't technically be called nude, but he's as close as you can get. I'm sure his stylist thinks that the more of Finnick the audience sees, the better. You're absolutely terrifying me in that get-up. What happened to the pretty little girl dress? He asks. He wets his lips just so ever slightly with his tongue. Probably this drives most people crazy. But for some reason, all I can think of is old Cray, salivating over some poor, starving young woman. I outgrew them, I say. Finnick takes the collar of my outfit and runs it between his fingers. It's too bad about this Quell thing. You could have made it out like a bandit in the capital. Jewels, money, anything you want. I don't like the jewels, and I have more money than I need. What do you spend all of yours on anyway, Finnick? I say. Oh, I haven't dealt with anything as common as money for years, says Finnick. Then how do you pay for the pleasure of your company, I ask. With secrets, he says softly. He tips his head so that his lips are almost in contact with mine. What about you, girl on fire? Do you have any secrets worth my time? For some stupid reason, I blush, but I've forced myself to hold my ground. No, I'm an open book, I whisper back. Everybody seems to know my secrets before I know them myself. He smiles. Unfortunately, I think it's true. His eyes flicker off to the side. Pete is coming. Sorry to have to cancel your wedding. I know how devastating that must be for you. He tosses another sugar cube into his mouth and saunters off. Pete is beside me, dressed in an outfit identical to mine. What did Finnick want? He asks. I turn and put my lips close to Pete's ear and drop my eyelids in an imitation of Finnick. He offered me sugar and wanted to know all my secrets, I say in my best seductive voice. Peter laughs. Not really. Really? I say, I'll tell you more when my skin stops crawling, I say. Do you think we'll end up like this if we're the only ones? Do you think we have to end up like this if only one of us won? He asks, glancing around the other victors. Just part of the freak show? Sure, especially you, I say. Oh, and why especially me, he says with a smile. Because you have a weakness for beautiful things, and I don't. I say with an air of superiority. They would lure you into their capital ways, and you'd be lost entirely. Having an eye for beauty isn't the same thing as a weakness, Peeta points out, except possibly when it comes to you. The music is beginning, and I see the wide doors opening for the first chariot. I hear the roar of the crowd. Shall we? He holds out a hand and helps me into the chariot. I climb up and pull him up after me. Hold still, I say, and straighten his crown. Have you seen your suit turned on? We're going to be fabulous again. Absolutely, but Portia said